If you're somebody who cares about energy efficiency with your car, then it's hard to ignore the Tesla Model 3. This car promises to be one of the slipperiest and most efficient ways to travel down the road with you or up to 5 people. So what sort of energy efficiency and range can you realistically expect when you're cruising on the highway at 70 miles per hour? Tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Moto, and today we've got the real-world highway range and efficiency test on the 2026 Tesla Model 3 Premium Rear-Wheel Drive. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get a realistic range figure for this compact electric sedan. But before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Yes, the Tesla Model 3. Not only one of the best electric cars on the market, but I would argue one of the best cars on the market. And if you care to see why, check the link below for our full review. But if you go on the EPA's website and you just look for not the longest range vehicles, but the highest efficiency vehicles on any sort of means of propulsion, this is right up there. The only one that's a little bit slipperier and I guess technically probably a little bit lighter and more efficient is the standard range Model 3, which has a little bit smaller battery. It's not even standard range anymore, is it? It's just standard in premium. This premium model gets a little bit of different battery chemistry, slightly larger battery, but still powered by just the rear wheels, making it that much more efficient than the all-wheel drive model, or of course the performance ones that have a little bit more aero and different tires. So if you do want to see more on the Tesla Model 3, check the link below. We've got a dedicated review of the 9-speaker audio system on this one. The all-wheel drive one gets the top-level audio system. We also covered a Model Y not too long ago, so you can find coverage on that one. A lot of similarities in terms of my pros and cons. And, like I said, there's that full review as well. You can find that all linked below. And also, let's give a shout-out to the video sponsor, Lasfit. Now, we put Lasfit floor liners in just about all of the cars we review. But when I got the set for this Model 3, I was surprised because they're entirely different than the mats that we've seen in the other cars. And they must have made some sort of improvement because just about everything is better with these mats. They've got both kind of a heavier duty feel to them than the mats we've felt before, but they're also a little bit more pliable, kind of easier to bend and get into your vehicle. Got this nice siping here. You can see how well they go right to the edges. And it keeps coming out for some reason, but it's got a little cutout here for the hole to reach up and get into your underfloor storage, where you have another Lasfit liner that fits nicely in there, tray style. Keep that one protected. Then you come into the cabin and you see how nicely this rear liner goes in, tray style again. If you have any sleet, slush, mud, dirt coming in from children's feet or taking passengers or anything like that, you're going to really appreciate how well these liners keep everything consolidated, and they go way up under the front seats and under this cargo area so that people's feet back here stay protected, your carpet stays protected. And then coming up, check this out under the driver's liner, really on the driver's liner, tucks in, it's got this metallic dead pedal. I've never seen this on the Lasfit liners. Very nice, very cool, feels good, looks nice. And if we pop open the frunk, then we see the last Lasfit liner here for the Model 3. Nice little, again, tray style for the frunk. So this set's a little bit more expensive because it comes with so much hardware, and I appreciate it that they made kind of a nicer mat for this one. So check the link below. I can get you a good percentage off using the code DailyMotor. They told me it'd be 18% off, but I feel like it's a little bit less than now I've heard from people. So I'm sorry if it's more like 15 or 16%, but still a nice healthy discount for some great liners for pretty much any vehicle, but especially here for the Model 3. I highly recommend them. Big shout out to Lasfit. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's fuel economy test, which on the highway gives this Model 3 128 mpge, that test, the highway portion, only averages 48 miles per hour. And we know there are plenty of people who do higher speeds than that on the highway. They got places to be, and they'd like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, I'm going to charge the car all the way up to 100% here at my house at night when there's less traffic. We're going to go out and do 100 miles, then come back, fill all the way back up with electrons, and see what sort of efficiency numbers the car reports and how much charge went back into the battery using our charger. A few other things to note for the test: outside temperature will be somewhere in the mid-60s, so fairly optimal weather conditions. Maybe running a little bit of heat in order to get the cabin up, because we're going to be running the climate control at 73 degrees auto. And our tire pressures will be set at the door placard recommended 42 psi cold. So with that, let's take the Model 3 to the charger. We're all charged up here in the Model 3. We're going to get our climate control going. 73 auto. Might have to do a little bit of warming actually tonight because it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Get our foot on the brake here. Oh wait, we actually have to use our key card. Start up the car. And here we go. So leaving here from the house, we've got 341 miles of estimated range from the vehicle. See how that does. We're actually cruising. Now the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible range for this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're getting up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace. We're going to set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. Which should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. I want to know what sort of efficiency and range can you expect if you are cruising at 70 miles per hour. Some people go, oh, if you slow down to 65, you get better fuel economy, better range. Yeah, I don't want to go 65. I want to get places faster. I have a lifted V10 van. That I slow down for to get a little bit better fuel economy. I don't need to in this. It looks like the speedometer is a little bit high, surprisingly. It looks like 72 on the dash, is giving us 71 on the GPS, so that's where we are going to settle in. And unfortunately, we cannot use the full self-driving for this test because you cannot tell the full self-driving exactly how fast you want to go. You can't set the speed like you can with normal cruise control here in auto steer. Fortunately, this Model 3 does still have auto steer and seems to work quite well, changing lanes. Yeah. Initial highway impressions. It's not too loud in here. You actually hear a little bit more wind and kind of a lower rumbling sound from above than you do in most cars. But it's taking the road noise surprisingly well. Dimming mirror on the right side. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen a car that's had an outside right dimming mirror. That's kind of cool. Now, we don't have camera rearview mirror. We'd like to have that, but yeah. Alright, well, we're going to continue on with the test here and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway range test here in the Tesla Model 3. Still have such a love-hate relationship with this car on the highway because it still has to bing and bong every time you engage and disengage the cruise control. It's so annoying and frustrating because, okay, you gotta change lanes, bing bong, turns your music down, interrupts your conversation, everything just to announce itself. Now, when you're using auto steer or full self-driving, it can negate that to a degree, but sometimes you still have to take control. In fact, I still had one time where the car using auto steer here tried to take an exit. I mean, come on. This is a car that's capable of driving itself, but yet if I'm using auto steer, then I get that happening. That's pretty sad and frustrating on a highway like this. But from an efficiency standpoint, my goodness, so far looking at 230 watt hours per mile as we're coming in off the highway here. Very, very impressive numbers, well over 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Should net us some very great efficiency results after we charge back up. Seat comfort, you do definitely have to play around with how you're sitting in the Model 3. I would argue it's a little bit less comfortable than the Model Y just because your legs are more outstretched rather than kind of sitting upright like you're in a chair more so. So you got to be a little bit more careful with your seating position there. The seat does seem to have a decent bit of support to it though. Soft enough places to put your elbows, decently quiet in here. Good ergos, because obviously you can get the steering wheel exactly where you want it to be. Sound system, pretty strong. Listen to a lot of good tracks here, so you can take a look below if you want to see that. But yeah, it's a nice place to be on the highway. Very happy with the efficiency so far. We're going to get it back to the house, charge it all the way back up, and calculate our final numbers. But I don't believe we have a full documented battery capacity, usable battery capacity here, so we're going to have to do a little bit of guesstimation. But either way, overall, good things happening here with the Model 3. We are all charged up here. Like I said, last night we did 100.8 miles. This one's a little bit high. We know from the GPS we did 100.8 and used 23.2 kilowatt hours according to the vehicle. Now, Teslas give us a lot more information than pretty much any other electric vehicle on our actual electricity used, and I would believe that that's exactly how much energy the battery used to go that distance. So if we do 100.8 GPS miles traveled divided by that 23.2 kilowatt hours, we're getting an impressive 4.34 miles per kilowatt hour to go 100 miles, or going, I should say, at 70 miles per hour here at highway speeds. Pretty impressive and efficient figure. And I know this is a smaller car and everything, but gosh, it's quite good compared to the Model 3 or Model Y that we tested recently. That got 3.86 miles per kilowatt hour. So just in case any of you all are curious, the Charger actually put in 24.87 kilowatt hours. So decently efficient charge there. On level 2, what would that be? Do 23.2 divided by 24.87. So yeah, that's about in between of what we expect. We got 93% charging efficiency on level 2. And we usually go from about a 90% charging efficiency. So yeah, right about there. Now, we don't know the exact battery capacity of this car. It's not 100% published, but you know, if you were to extrapolate and say we used 23.2 and we were at 67% state of charge, you could essentially multiply by 3 and be getting about a 70 usable kilowatt hour pack here, in which case if we do 70 times, what was that, 4.34 roughly, you're getting about 300 miles of cruising range. So I think that's a very safe real world estimate. A lot of places list about 75 usable kilowatt hours in here. So what was our history here? 4.34 times 75 usable kilowatt hours. That'd be giving you 320, just over that, miles of usable range. Either way, the way I like to look at it is if you're going to charge this car up to 100 and then run down to safely about 10% or so by the time you're getting to your next supercharger in order to road trip, that would mean that 310, split the difference times 0.9. You could go about 280 miles or so, cruising at 70 miles per hour, get yourself to a level 3 charger, and charge back up to, about, if you charged up to 90%, then we'd be looking at times 0.8, 250 miles or so. So you could go about 280 miles in that first charge, and then about 250 miles in between chargers. I'd like to see a little bit more than that, but that means you could comfortably travel about 3 to 4 hours roughly, highway speeds, taking breaks in between there to charge. And it's going to charge up pretty quickly and continue you on your way. I also love this energy screen here because with these newer Teslas, it'll tell you, okay, how much did you use on your driving, your climate, your battery condition, your elevation, and everything else. and then it'll also give you some range tips. And full disclosure, the tire pressures were a little bit lower. By the time we actually headed out and the temperature had fallen and everything, it was a little bit lower than door placards. So theoretically, we could have been a little bit more efficient, about 0.8% or so, if we had the tire pressures pumped up a little bit more. And then it also points out elevation and speed for its effects. So that would make this the most energy efficient vehicle we've ever tested. Not too surprising here, again, given the size, given the technology and the innovation coming from Tesla from an efficiency standpoint. So if you're putting big miles on your electric vehicle, this is going to be one of the most affordable ways to do it in terms of energy consumption. So thank you all so much for watching. Big shout out to Lasfit for sponsoring the video. Get yourself some mats for any of your cars, just about any of your cars, I should say. Good way to protect them. If you want to see more on the Model 3, check the link below to our other videos, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.